a half rematch to get a possible rematch. And then we're on the road to Halloween Havoc. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Dropkicks and Attractions. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard to Dropkicks and Attractions. Once again, proud member of the Main Event Wrestling Network. I am, of course, your favorite podcaster, Zaner Invictus, joined by your favorite podcaster's second favorite podcaster, Big Bach. How are you, sir?
I am hot and sweaty. How about you?
Hot and sweaty. So, once again, everybody that reached out for my birthday last week, appreciate it. It was on a Friday, and I actually got... My mom got me, you saw this on social media, I posted it on Twitter. Was anybody, obviously, if you know by now, I'm a massive WCW fan.
Mm-hmm.
I think we well established that over the course of the show.
Yeah, definitely.
David Penzer, who is a ring announcer. You saw him at Against All Odds last year, but he was also the big WCW announcer, mainly the majority of the Monday Night Wars.
Gotcha.
Just had a book released. And it only goes up to 2001, so I guess they're already in the works on Volume 2, which is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Mom, shout out to Mommy, got me his book, hardcover, signed by him and the author.
Awesome.
It also came with a bunch of formats, which you know how they go over the order of the show, segments, who wins, who loses, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I have a handful of them, all signed by him, either him and or the author, including the last episode of Nitro, one of the Thunders that David Arquette was on, the episode of Nitro where Vince Russo won the world title. Just, I know, but we'll get there. It's as weird as it sounds. And there was also one that was like pros and, all their, their B and C shows.
That's awesome.
And because, she got the big package for me,
mm-hmm.
I actually got to talk to David Penzer over the phone.
Oh, that's even cooler.
And I arranged it because I talked to the author through Twitter and everything. We arranged it, talked to him on my birthday.
Oh, that's hell yeah, man.
Yeah, we got to talk for like about 10, 12 minutes, which was great. And I learned something because it was like, hey, how you doing? Thanks for book. And then, once again, I could ask him any questions I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And the one that popped up for me, and that you would be interested about this because, I like how shit works on shows, inner workings.
Right.
I was looking on, I think, one of the pro formats, because the book itself is half story. And you know me, I love like paperwork and memos and shit, right?
Right.
The book is half story. It goes up to 2001. His story.
Mm-hmm.
And then the rest of the book is all formats and letters of various different things and different paperwork that never really got released because, proprietary information, confidential, that sort of thing.
Right.
Like 200 pages of paperwork that I could just sit there and look at for hours.
Neat. Yeah.
From like 91 up until for like 10 years worth of material.
Ooh.
Yeah. So I was looking through. And it would be like, such and such versus such and such, like, who's coming out to whose theme song, who wins,
mm-hmm.
where the commercial breaks at, stuff like that.
Right.
But a lot of times, especially with the syndicated ones like your pros and your worldwides, it would be, let's say, Ron Simmons versus blank, because that's going to be the enhancement match.
Right. Makes sense.
It would just be Ron Simmons versus, and then just a line.
Gotcha.
No specific enhancement talent.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, so I, questions like, how did they figure out who wrestles who enhancement wise? So what had happened? Because this is when they were filming in Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was coming up, David Penzer was coming up from Florida, and you had like Rip Rogers from like the Kentucky area, and a couple guys, a couple of the, those kind of names, which we've seen Rip Rogers on Saturday Night several times.
Mm-hmm.
Would come up from different territories like Louisville, the Carolinas, Florida, whatever. Take a van full of people. These are all the enhancement guys. And what they would do is like, we're using David Penzer as an example because obviously this is his book.
Okay.
He would take a van of guys and he would have his whatever his fee was for his appearances and stuff.
Right.
And then he would charge like $25 a head for everybody in the van.
Mm-hmm.
And what they would do is that they would have varying, like, it was almost like a hierarchy. You had your low level enhancement talent up. And then you go higher up, the more well-known you were, and they knew you could do things.
Right.
So, like, if you were new, they would be like, oh, you're going to be in a tag match against the Road Warriors or the Steiners, not to get your ass beat, which, the Road Warriors and the Steiners are known for.
Known to do.
Yeah. It would just be like, it's near impossible to have a bad match with the Road Warriors or the Steiners because you're just going to go in there and brawl a little bit.
Right.
And then, you would work your way up the ladder, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Where you would start out in those tag matches, and eventually they would start you out with, like, enhancement with, like, the lower guys. So, like, basically, if you notice when we're doing, like, Raws and, like, Saturday nights, you see a lot of the same names wrestling the bigger names.
Yeah, I have noticed that.
There's a reason, like, apparently this is the reason, like, we see Dwayne Gill wrestling the top guys a lot, or the Barry Hardys, or the Joey Meggses, or the Bobby Stars, is those were considered the top level enhancement talent, so they got your Stings, your Undertakers, your Ric Flairs, your Vaders.
Yeah, so they did the best job at being enhancement, basically?
Basically, yeah, they worked their way up to the point where they could have the opportunity to wrestle Sting and, like, not necessarily, like, you would get the tag match, you would start out with the tag matches first, and then the better you were, eventually you would work higher up the card.
Gotcha, that makes sense.
No. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like, they would figure out, okay, these are the guys we have for this taping. You're wrestling Ron Simmons. You're in a tag match with Sting and Dustin Rhodes. You're doing this. You got Vader.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why, like I tell him, your Rip Rogers was wrestling always the top guys. Joey Maggs was always wrestling at higher up on the card with enhancement-wise.
Mm-hmm.
That's how they figured it out.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, like, that's the stuff, that's the little things that I find fascinating. So it was like, by the way, the book, if you guys get a chance, Guy Evans that wrote the Nitro book, and he wrote Eric Bischoff's second biography,
Mm-hmm.
knows these stuff. So go out, buy any of his books. Obviously, we're not plugging him yet. It's just a really good book.
I gotcha.
And I guess he's got another one coming out here soon. So, like, yeah, like Guy Evans, and he's known for his details, so you're not going to get a half-ass book.
Right.
Also went to the movies just as of today. I went to the movie. Actually, I think I've seen 2 movies since the last recording. I went to go see Bad Boys 4.
Of course you did.
Which was me and me and my best friend, our mutual.
Mm-hmm.
Went to go see it. It was fantastic. They haven't made a Bad Boys movie yet. All 4 of them are fantastic.
I gotcha.
And then today, we're recording this on the 22nd of June, we went to go see The Bike Raiders. It's that movie about kind of like a fictionalized story of how the biker gang, the Vandals, came about. It's got like Tom Hardy and Austin Butler and all that.
Interesting.
Might be my favorite movie of the year.
Cool.
From, like, the wide release, like, movie theater stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It would be my favorite movie of the year. The movie's absolutely fantastic.
Good deal.
So, yeah, I've been keeping busy.
I haven't seen any movies recently, but my housemate and I were going to start Breaking Bad tomorrow night.
Oh, finally.
Yeah, I figured if he and I did that together, it would get me incentive to actually do it and not just sit in my room and do nothing.
Oh, you're in for a treat.
I'm looking forward to it.
It's considered one of the best TV shows of all time for a reason.
So I've heard.
Like, your Breaking Bads, The Sopranos is up there for me, at least for me. The Sopranos,
Mm-hmm.
The Wire, Oz.
The last time I really got into a TV drama was Rescue Me, way back in the early 2000s.
Yeah, or like me, I just caught up last night with The Boys,
Mm-hmm.
which I absolutely, and your housemate also likes it too.
Gotcha.
Because he started watching before I did.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's fantastic. Like, if the guy that plays Homelander doesn't get at least an Emmy nod this year after everything, especially the most recent episode, which for those listening at home would be episode 4, and if you know, you know. No, like, there's a reason, like, episode 4, you're like, oh, okay, we're putting on our award-winning uniform this time.
Gotcha.
It's chilling, but The Boys is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I need to watch Fallout too. I've seen the first episode of Fallout. I need to watch that too.
Mm-hmm. I love the Bethesda Fallouts. Never really got into the old ones, but I've heard good things about the TV show too.
The first episode's really good, and I think they've already announced at least season 2. No death claws in season 1, but they said there will probably more likely they're going to put a death claw in season 2 somewhere.
Oh boy.
But yeah. Anyways, now that we got that out of the way.
After 10 minutes.
Yeah. We haven't talked about pop culture in quite a while, though. It wasn't a tangent. It was nice.
Incredible. Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah. We are on the road to Survivor Series, about 2 months out. We are on the road to Halloween Havoc, which is about a month out.
Yeah, we are starting with Raw on the night of September 20th.
Yeah, and this is in Manhattan Center. And you remember when I said there was a good chunk of the year that they weren't in New York the rest of the year?
Yeah, I believe I heard them saying that they're going to be going on the road.
But yeah, this is the last Raw emanating from the Manhattan Center for the rest of the year.
Gotcha.
And let me pull up. Let me just double check because I have to know shit.
Because of course you do.
Well, just because you know me, it's just, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's a compulsion for you.
Well, just because I want, like, it's a very, when are they in the Manhattan Center again? Oh, they actually go to Virginia in January.
Oh,
cool. Ohio in May.
Ooh.
They're not. This is the last one at least. Let me check. They're not in the Manhattan Center in 94.
Not at all?
Not at all.
Oh, my.
They're in Houston in 95. 95 was when they finally go to, like, Texas and Florida and Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
California even. Like, they're still going to Poughkeepsie. Struthers, where the June of 95, they go to Struthers, Ohio.
Where the hell is that?
In the Youngstown area. It's about 10,000 people. At a high school.
Oh my gosh.
They record Raw, 3 episodes of Raw at a high school.
Holy crap.
Which is kind of cool.
It is. Very cool.
I'm trying to see when they go back to Manhattan Center. Not 95. I know they do it at least in 97.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're doing a month of Raws at, like, in 96, they're doing a month at a time.
Are they recording, like, a month in, like, 2 nights, or is it just...
No, these are, like, one... It's the same arena, same... Not 96.
Okay, so they, like, go to a town, stay there for a month, and do one every Monday? Is that what it's
No,
going?
they would just record all of them at once.
Oh, yeah, that's what I was trying to say.
97, they're starting to do different places weekly. The Manhattan Center, February 24th, 19... So they will not be back in the Manhattan Center until 97.
Wow.
Yeah, so this is the last time. Yeah. Wait, is that the one I'm thinking of too? No. And then they go to Madison Square Garden for Raw for the first time in September 97. Let me go up here. Is this the one where it's the ECW invasion? It is.
Oh.
So remember how I said the last time they're going to be in the Manhattan Center was when they have the ECW invasion?
Right.
This is the one.
Gotcha.
It's February 24th, 97.
Long time in the future for us.
Where my wrestling granddaddy wrestled that night. Mikey Whipwreck, my wrestling grandpappy,
cool,
was there that night. We get, this is the, so yeah, this is the last time until 97 that we're gonna. I for some reason thought they were at the Manhattan Center a lot longer than like 9 months.
Gotcha.
I guess I was wrong. This is why I like looking back on this, because you're like, oh, okay, huh.
I get why you like this kind of minutia.
Mm-hmm. Which is why I know all the weird, obscure shit, because I need to know this.
Right.
Just for my own benefit, not for anything else.
Right.
So anyways, now that we're
now about 15 minutes in,
and we haven't talked about a fucking thing, let's go ahead and do this. We have Scott Steiner versus Quebecer Pierre, because if you guys remember last week, would have been about a month ago when we were talking about the title change. The Steiners lost to the Quebecers in the often used province of Quebec rules match.
As I recall, you described that as a Cowboy Bill Watts wet dream.
Yeah, no top rope, no over the top rope, no pile drivers. But yeah, so the Steiners lost by disqualification, so they lost the titles. And Johnny Polo, I mixed Scotty Flamingo and Johnny Polo together since it's the same guy.
Of course.
Who's going to be Raven in a couple years, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, this is the guy that ends up becoming Raven. And I love, especially like the late 90s Raven, like ECW and then like WCW Raven.
Gotcha.
Like it hit, like he resonated with me as a teenager in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And once you see Raven, you'll understand.
Gotcha.
Johnny Polo's out there with the Quebecers. They said, hey, if one of the Steiners can beat one of the Quebecers, we'll give him a rematch.
Mm-hmm.
So we're getting Scott versus Pierre, and I noticed this was at the beginning of the match. Their tag partners aren't coming out with them.
Yeah, I noticed that. That was unusual.
Yeah, like it was like, yeah. So Johnny Polo comes out with Pierre, but Scott comes out with nobody.
Mm-hmm.
And I like how they do this. Once again, they're trying to explain a match that'll never happen again, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Where, Scott did a top rope move. Scott threw him over the top rope. Scott hit a pile driver.
Yeah, I noticed that. Like, literally everything banned by the province of Quebec rules, Scott did it in a space of about 90 seconds.
Yeah, and then every time he did it, either Vince or Randy would be like, oh, well, if he would have done that last week, he would have been disqualified. Oh, if he would have done that last week, he would have been disqualified. Oh, if he would have done that last week, he would have been disqualified. So I'm just like, yeah, but okay. Like, why are we still explaining this match?
Right.
And also, I actually forgot to explain this last week because, we had the Doink match.
Mm-hmm.
Bobby's sneezing and coughing and all stuffed up throughout this match. Or throughout the show, actually. He's sneezing and he's blowing his nose into like a handkerchief.
Mm-hmm.
That Doink match where he's throwing the glitter and everything, he had a bucket. And you could tell when you watch like the gleaming off the bucket, there was water. That bucket had water in it. And Bobby was like, hey, this is, throw it at Bobby, Randy and Vince. And, like, no, don't do it. And so Doink turns around and just dumps the whole bucket of water on Bobby.
Mm-hmm.
So this Bobby's doing the whole, I'm so sick. Over, getting a bucket of water dumped on him a week ago. So, yeah, I had completely forgot that I did not mention Bobby getting, water jumped on him last time. So, and I noticed this. It was nice to see, Scott went for that, the Muda, I call it the Muda lock.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like kind of like the inverted STF.
Yeah, they called it a pretzel lock on air, I believe.
Yeah, but I call it the Muda lock because one of my favorites, the Great Muda, was known for doing it. And everybody calls it the Muda lock.
Gotcha.
But I was like, oh, the Muda lock. Because once again, 93, a lot of these moves didn't have fucking names because, once again, 93, you were still doing relative. You notice that it's relatively like, it's not as flashy as it is in 2024.
Yeah, it's a lot more basic. I've actually been catching up on Raw and SmackDown, so I can really see the difference.
Yeah. Also, hi, referee Tim White. I recognized Tim White right away.
Mm-hmm.
So I see Scott, obviously a big Red Wings fan because he busts out the hockey stick and chases him backstage as they come back to commercial.
Mm-hmm.
As they go to commercial, rather.
We come back, and both Quebecers are out, and Johnny, they're just getting back to ringside, and then Rick makes his way out, too.
Yeah, because this match was all Scott, and it wasn't even until after the commercial break that Pierre gets a DDT, and he's finally in control. Because this was all Scott.
Yeah, the Rick is just, he's not helping. Like, you're not helping, Rick. Get out of the ring. The ref stops being distracted by you.
Yeah, well, remember, Rick was very the Otis of the group, so.
Right.
So, and then I noticed that Bobby, might as well say the greatest manager of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome on commentary. And from what I heard, was an amazing wrestler. Like, apparently Nick Bockwinkel said at some point when Bobby was still wrestling, he could have been like Ric Flair level.
Really?
Like, yeah, but I knew Bobby was a wrestler, and I knew he was good, but apparently according to Nick Bockwinkel, who, very highly acclaimed wrestler in his own right, Bobby could have been like one of the best in the world at the time.
Cool.
So apparently Bobby can do anything when it comes to wrestling. One thing he is not is a marketer, because that was my minor in college, was marketing.
Mm-hmm.
I like to think after this that I'm a better in marketing than Bobby.
We can make a fortune. We can take all the sweat off Pierre and put it in a bottle. We have Pierre water.
Oh, my God!
Beg your pardon? Pierre water. Like Perrier water? Don't you get anything, dummy?
Well, you should know about water.
Yeah, so I like to think that's the one thing I'm better at Bobby Heenan is that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this whole match was a good back and forth. This was a great match.
Yeah, the second half seemed like pretty bog standard, but there's nothing wrong with that. Just not a lot to say.
No, it was a solid match.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, there's nothing wrong with having you don't have to have, if every match has oh my god moments and flashy moments and high spots in this, they're not cool.
Yeah, because they just become routine again.
Yeah. I like that they didn't that's one thing I like about older wrestling. Which, I don't want to sound, contrarian over new stuff, because obviously I love new stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Is that you didn't have a flashy, moment every time.
Yeah.
So we go back and forth, and in all of the Yahoo chaos, Scott hits the Franken-Center for the win.
12 minutes, 46 seconds. Good stuff.
Yeah, great match. And then we will get a response later on in the show from Johnny Polo about the rematch.
Right.
So we go back from commercial, and we get one of my favorites, Bam Bam Bigelow with his main squeeze Luna.
Mm-hmm.
Going up against Laverne McGill. And props to Vince for this. You know, I always appreciate a good quick wit, snappy comeback right away, right?
Mm-hmm.
Bobby's like, oh, it's Laverne, where's Shirley? And Vince goes, this is a singles match, not a tag team match.
I caught that. That was good.
Like, I'm talking about instant, and I'm like, well done, Vince.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, I like a good, when you get a good comeback like instantly, I appreciate that.
Yeah, McGill gives a pretty good account of himself until Bam Bam does a Ric Flair like corner spot and then dodges a drop kick, and it's all Bam Bam after that.
You know what? Laverne McGill's got a nice drop kick too.
He does.
I was like, oh, that's actually pretty damn good.
Mm-hmm.
But then once Bam Bam takes over, but here's the thing I noticed, because once again this is a short match, not much. Then once again this is all Bam Bam.
Mm-hmm.
He went for a double underhook. This is towards the end of the match.
Mm-hmm.
And like he gets the double underhook like he's going to lift him up for some kind of suplex. And there was just a weird abrupt cut where they go from the double. And I went back to make sure I didn't miss something.
Mm-hmm.
It was a weird abrupt cut where they go from setting up the double underhook to like it's already up. Like you didn't see him pick him up at all.
Huh. I didn't catch that.
And because this wasn't like the live episode, this was the recorded episode of Raw.
Mm-hmm. I'm
wondering if there was some sort of thing where it was like so bad that they had to cut it and then go right back to the suplex or something.
Interesting observation.
I don't know, but I'm surprised you didn't catch it. Like the cut was that abrupt.
Huh.
But then Bam Bam hits a very nasty senton for the win.
Yep, 5 minutes, 19 seconds.
I'm surprised it lasted that long, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I'm of the school of thought that if it's an enhancement match, it should only be a couple minutes.
Mm-hmm. Once Bam Bam took over, it was more about Crush, who was on the phone again saying he'll be back soon.
Yeah, you're right. I forgot about that. Thank you for reminding me.
Mm-hmm.
Vince calls Crush again. Hey, I'm coming back. I'm better than ever. I'm out doing a 5-mile run, blah, blah, blah. Randy gets on the phone because, they used to be running buddies, road partners, all this. So not only does Crush ignore Randy, he just straight up says, I'm ignoring you for a reason, and then hangs up. So we do get an in-ring interview. Vince is in the ring with Bret Hart. And honestly, Vince talks more than Bret in this thing.
Yeah.
Like, the whole setup for the question he's asking Bret took forever.
Yeah, he said pushing all of Bret's buttons about the match with Lawler at SummerSlam.
Well, yeah, like, we're continuing the feud, but he's like, so, Bret, you had the match, and then you did this, 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 and then you did this.
Right.
And I'm just like, can we let Bret talk? Can we, like, you brought out one of the, you're basically one of, if not your biggest baby face, and then we're waiting for him to talk. It's very...
Well, we're waiting.
So Bret finally talks, and what he says, he's like, yeah, I'm glad I fucked... Basically, he's like, yeah, I'm glad I fucked up Jerry Lawler, and if I would have done it over again, I would have kept it in even longer.
Right.
And then basically the promo's over.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a Bret Hart interview where Bret Hart barely got interviewed. So
after that, we have a weird spot where someone is parodying a bunch of current WWE wrestlers, and this woman is just not having it.
It's a weird commercial.
So yeah, and the guy, you could just imagine him saying,
"Be impressed, damn it!"
Yeah, like this was cringe in '93. Now imagine going to a wrestling show and seeing that in 2024.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. I go to a decent amount of wrestling nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
I like a good indie show. Matter of fact, we're going to one in August 1st.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, we're going to 3 shows in August.
Oh, yeah. Got that little mini vacation toward the end of the month.
Uh-huh. Well, once we get there, because once again, we're going to be down to watch some Wrestling Revolver in August. There may be a possibility. Once we get closer, we'll see if we can work it out. If we can do like a main event meetup.
Mm-hmm.
the guys from the Main Event Wrestling Network, because I know there's some that are down there in that area.
Right.
So, but yeah, so you see wrestling fans like this there.
Right.
They're cringe. I'm all for doing like costumes and shit because, it's fun.
Yeah.
But I've seen people like that at conventions and wrestling shows.
Just trying way too hard.
Where they're trying to be part of a show when you're not part of the show. I'm very much, if you're a fan, be a fan. Don't try to be part of the show.
Right.
I was at a show in Ohio because I've actually seen, counting the one we're going to in Michigan, I've seen wrestling in 5 different states.
Mm-hmm.
Between WWE, TNA, Indies, and stuff.
Right.
Where I was like, why do you need to put all the attention on you? You're a fan, you're not a wrestler. Shut up and sit down.
Right.
Anyways, that's just what this get me off of those vibes. It's like, all right, dude, we get it.
Yeah.
He's very much like,
It's still real to me, damn it.
but yeah, that's the vibe I got off this commercial. And it was a commercial promoting WWF on WWF program. It wasn't for one of their shows or an event or ice cream bars. It was a WWF commercial shown during WWF programming.
Because that makes sense.
Okay. But no, it was just, and then Randy Savage saved her. I'm like, cool, thanks, Randy. But it was just, he did, yeah, at one point this dude did Tatanka, which that's not offensive. I don't know if you remember that. He dressed up as Tatanka and was doing the war dance. I'm like, oh my god, you're pale like me, my dude.
Yeah, wow.
He was pale like you.
Oh my gosh, and that takes some doing.
That's what I'm saying, dude. Like, you're so pale, I can, like, see your spine. Anyways, we're getting some Mr. Perfect. And right now, we get Mr. Perfect going up against Mike Bell.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to take in as much Mr. Perfect wrestling as I can because he will not be wrestling by the end of the year. He'll be off WWE TV by Survivor Series.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think he does some, like, studio stuff. But this is basically some of the last we see of Mr. Perfect wrestling on TV for a couple years until he gets to WCW.
And unfortunately, to me, this was just boring enhancement.
It did its job.
Yeah.
We got the classic Henning spots.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect plex for the win.
Yeah, 3 minutes, 57 seconds. This just did not do it for me.
It was all right. Once again, as someone who's a big fan of Mr. Perfect, this is probably, out of the Mount Rushmore, he's probably number 5.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take Mr. Perfect and I might get him on TV.
I gotcha. So we have Ludwig Borga cutting another anti-American promo. As you have said, like, why are you here if you hate it?
Yeah, and it's basically, he's very eco-terrorist. He's like, oh, it's crumbling, the environment's bad, and...
Like, my guy, if you want to be Captain Planet, just be Captain Planet.
Yeah, but if I want that, I'll just fucking watch Captain Planet. I used to watch Captain Planet.
So did I.
He's our hero. He's going to take pollution down to 0.
He's our powers magnified.
Exactly. I had the lunchbox as a kid.
Oh, I did not.
Yeah, and I played the video game on Nintendo.
I did not.
It was a side-scrolling shooter. No, basically what it was is that you had the Planeteer levels and Captain Planet levels. So, the Planeteer, you remember the ship the Planeteers had?
Yeah, I do.
So, each one of the powers, the power rings, was a power for the ship.
Right.
Like the Fire Kid, and the ship shot fireballs, or you would shoot wind or earth, powers, and you would use at different points of the level because of obstacles and shit.
Yes.
And then even Heart had a fucking power. Like if the animals were like covered in oil or distressed in somehow, a little beam would come down, and it would cure the ailment of whatever the animal was. Like, I swear to God.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and then on top of that, then after that, you would have a Captain Planet level where it was basically one of those platformers, but you fly, so it's not really a platformer type thing.
Mm-hmm.
But he would have the Planeteer powers at the same. It's a side-scrolling shooter, but it was also a self-scrolling shooter because you could turn around, but you couldn't because you could turn the ship back and forth. But it was very
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't very good. We'll put it that way.
It doesn't sound like it would have been.
I actually can say that I actually played that as a child, and I remember specifically not getting very far. Which also, Nintendo games were notoriously hard.
Yeah.
Look at Ninja Gaiden.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah. So, anyways,
Moving on from that.
yeah, so we get Bobby ringside doing his Bobby shtick, which once again, Bobby on the mic, I'll never say no. We got a proposal. Another proposal. Here's I don't know if you remember this. This is the second proposal we've had on Raw this year.
I remember there was one other one, but I don't remember when it happened.
It was earlier in the year. It was this year. Obviously, it was in '93 because we started
We
cutting
talked about it.
Yeah, but it was one of those. If I had a nickel every time I watched a proposal on Raw in 1993, I'd have 2 nickels, which is weird that it's not weird that it happened. It's weird that it happened twice.
Which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's the whole.
Yeah, that's the quote.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. That's the vibe I got. I'm like, I knew of one, but I don't ever remember there being 2. Thankfully, she said yes. That would have been awkward. So, will you marry me? No. So, but hey, mazel tov to the couple.
Bobby passes her a used Kleenex because, of course,
and just straight leaves. And so she's sitting there. So they're showing the ring. They get that close shot of the ring. She's got the Kleenex in her hand as she's showing off the ring.
yeah,
I was like, God damn it! I fucking love you, Bobby.
yeah, he did. He was unparalleled at what he chose to do.
Oh, he was an asshole. He was very good at being an ass. Once again, this is what you got Bobby for. He was very good at this.
Yes.
This is why he's one of the best. So we get our quote-unquote main event of the night. IRS going up against PJ Walker, who we've seen several times. This would be the future Aldo Montoya, or most famously, the future Just Incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so out comes Razor Ramon, which, once again, anytime Scott Hall's on my screen, I'm not going to say no.
Yep, he's fun.
Yeah, so he distracts IRS, and we get an upset because PJ Walker rolls him up and wins.
In a minute 21, I cannot believe they booked that.
Yeah, it was just like, it was kind of nice. It's like Razor Ramon's like, hey, you want to laugh at me? Ha, fuck you, you win.
So yeah, post-match, IRS charges Razor and is held back by some referees who just so happen to have come out with him.
Well, obviously. I mean, wouldn't you?
Of course.
But once again, anytime Razor Ramon's on my television, I thought Razor Ramon was cool when I was a kid, and now I understand why as an adult, because I fucking love me some Razor Ramon.
And the fact that they swerved everybody with having PJ Walker win, I like that too.
I just hope they kind of like drop this whole enhancement can win every week storyline here soon, because
Yeah, they're still banging that drum.
at least Vince isn't talking about it every week.
Right.
So we're Bobby's backstage with the Quebecers, and Johnny Polo said, "Are they getting a shot on Raw next week?" And he basically says they're not getting their title shot. No, they're not getting it next week. So I don't know when they get it, if or when they do get it. But they will give a deserving team a tag title shot next week. So we are getting a tag title match next week. And then we're going to be they specifically say they're going to be in New Haven, Connecticut, home of Yale. Which is also where the movie The Skulls emanates from, which is a great late 90s thriller movie. One of those late 90s thrillers where all the people are pretty.
And that is how Raw ends for the week.
Yeah, but yeah. So we are going to get Tatanka. We are going to get the Raw debut of Ludwig Borga. He's been wrestling like on Superstars and stuff, and we saw him at SummerSlam. But we're getting the in-ring Raw debut of Ludwig Borga. And surprisingly, we're getting fucking Superfly Jimmy Snuka in 93.
So yeah, I saw that. Like, he was more a wrestler in the 80s, wasn't he?
70s, 80s, but it was just like 90, even 93, you're like, okay. So we're getting Jimmy Snuka in 93. I'm like, all right. Because he wasn't one of those that had like, when Piper was still doing Nitros in like 97 to 98. At this point, Jimmy Snuka was already like, oh, we're getting Jimmy Snuka as a surprise. Cool. Like, I like Jimmy Snuka as a kid, but even when I started watching him as a kid, you're talking like late 80s, early 90s, where it's like, oh, he's already at the point where he's at the end. So cool. I don't know where fucking Jimmy Snuka. Great. But yeah, overall, I thought Raw was a decent show.
Solid.
It's kind of funny that it's usually whatever the premiere match of the week is going to be our favorite. So obviously my favorite was Scott versus Pierre.
Yeah, same.
It was a good, and not just because all the others were enhancement. This was a good match.
Yeah, very good.
I've picked enhancement matches as my best of the show before.
You have indeed. Don't think I have.
I've done on WCW before. So speaking of WCW, we're going Saturday night, September 25th, 1993, and we're opening right off the bat. You remember when I said that they're recording shows before pay-per-views so title changes could happen or whatever?
Yeah.
This is one of those because we're starting out with. This was recorded September 7th, so this was about a week or so before.
Fall Brawl.
So Regal hadn't won the title yet, so he's already in the ring when the match starts. It's Regal versus Steamboat again, which once again, oh no, please don't.
Mm-hmm. For some reason, this episode was not on Peacock, so we had to find a YouTube upload for this. This was weird.
Yeah, like our connection didn't have it. Peacock didn't have it. Which is why I don't understand why if you have the access to all the shows, once again, nobody's going to listen to us. What'd you call us again? Mooks with mics?
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody's going to listen to us, but if you have the library and you have all the Saturday nights, fucking put them on there.
Yeah, so shout out to Wrestling Channel, YouTube channel, Turnbuckle Classics for providing the footage this week.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't understand why would you only put some of them up there?
Yeah.
Which, once again, what the fuck do I know? Speaking of Regal, I don't know if it was Fall Brawl the week before where I was doing we had our Family Guy impression about Regal.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking about Liar Liar. Because we started talking about, because he started doing like the Fire Marshal Bill stuff.
Right.
What it was, and like again, this is a movie you've actually seen.
Yes.
So you remember the climax of the movie where he's on the tarmac and he's on the friggin' stair thing?
Yeah, he's driving the mobile staircase.
Yeah, to chase after the airplane, this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
Once you get to the part where, the media and then you see all the people in the background, all the firefighters.
Right.
If you look in the background, well, you know what? Remind me to actually put this clip on the Twitter page that, we say we're going to use and we don't use.
Mm-hmm.
Carrie's actually in his Fire Marshal Bill getup in the background.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it's like, I never realized it. It's one of those you don't realize it until someone points it out. And now you see it every single time.
Gotcha.
Like the whole Mr. Nanny thing we talked about way in the back, way in the far away.
Oh, yeah. That was episode 2, I think?
It was our second ever episode.
Yeah.
Where you see the guy throw the dog in the water.
Oh, yeah. I remember you pointed that out. I can't unsee it.
Exactly. So next time you watch Liar Liar, you see it. And once you see Fire Marshal Bill, you'll never unsee him.
Right.
So yeah, we'll go ahead and I'll put that clip. Remind me to put that clip on Twitter. Just a funsies clip.
Yeah.
But yeah, Steamboat just straight rushes to the ring, barely gets his gear up before he just starts beating on Regal.
And yeah, like for whole minutes, Regal can't even get out of the starting blocks.
Yeah, no, which I like this because this is a whole, even though this match happened on the 7th, we're wrestling it as if, there's a title change, this, that, and the other.
Right.
And this is great. Once again, it's Regal versus Steamboat. I know what I'm going to get.
Yeah, Jesse's Ventura said it's a brawl between two technicians, and I thought he was right about that.
Yeah, 100% was. Yeah.
Something different. I like it.
But the thing, Regal was known for, he could brawl a little bit too.
Yeah.
And I like a good counter when Regal started to take over, where it was Steamboat was going for the up and over in the corner, the kind of little leapfrog thing, and Regal grabbed him and just slammed him face first, I thought, which was a nice counter.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like, if you like Regal Steamboat at Fall Brawl, you're going to like Regal Steamboat from Saturday night.
Right.
I do like Fall Brawl better, the Fall Brawl match better, but this was still a great match.
Absolutely. I loved it.
Yeah. Once again, my all-time favorite versus, half of my Mount Rushmore, so. And this was the reason why. So we get to the finish, and Sir William goes up to the top, so Steamboat grabs him, just chucks him into Regal, and then rolls up Regal for a jackknife pin for the win.
10 minutes, 5 seconds. Great match.
Yeah. Non-title match, by the way. Steamboat didn't even, because, Steamboat technically was the TV champion at the time, did not come out with the belt. There was no mention of a belt or anything.
Right, because this was set to be broadcast after Fall Brawl when Regal won the title.
Yeah. So, we go to our next match, and you remember when I said the Missy's sign plants?
Yeah.
This is where I'm going to retract that because I didn't realize this. Because we do get the Nasty Boys versus T.A. McCoy and Chris Kern. And who do the Nasty Boys come out with?
They come out with Missy.
So people already knew that Missy was there. We didn't know because the way TV was recorded and everything, this happened after Fall Brawl.
Right.
So I could see, now I do understand why there were signs in the crowd.
Yeah, now I get it too.
Because people already knew that Missy was with them because she's coming out with them here. Like I said, this is about a week or so before Fall Brawl.
Right.
And speaking of Fall Brawl, we're getting our tag title rematch next week.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, if it's anything remotely like the last match we had at Fall Brawl, okay. Oh no, please don't twist my arm. Oh no. But yeah, once again, we got a nice pump handle drop from Sags, but this was obviously all Nasty Boys. They got their power slam elbow drop for the win.
2 minutes, 26 seconds.
No notes.
No notes.
These are the kind of enhancement matches I like. They come in, you can see what the tag match, you can see what the wrestlers can do. Get the quick win. You get a good enhancement talent that makes the guys look good.
Mm-hmm.
We already get our first Halloween Havoc Control Center with Chris Cruz. The only match that we do know is Cactus Jack and Vader in a spin the wheel, make the deal match, which I know you're not familiar with this.
Nope.
They did this at Halloween Havoc last year when it was Jake the Snake versus Sting.
Mm-hmm.
The less said about that match, the better. So you got this big-ass wheel.
Uh-huh.
Bunch of different match stipulations on it. They spin the wheel. Whatever match stipulation it lands on, that's the match you get.
Gotcha.
And they showed it was a little long, I wouldn't say a little long because I didn't have a problem with how long it was.
Mm-hmm.
It was a long package, but it was a very nicely done, well-detailed package about the long feud between Cactus Jack, Vader, Harley Race, the whole rigmarole.
Yeah, the whole thing, basically.
Yeah, and it was a long package, but it was well done.
It worked.
Yeah. Speaking of Vader, we get Vader with Harley Race versus Jason Johnson. My note for this, 2 Thunderfire powerbombs, lol, Vader wins.
Yeah, 2 minutes, 22 seconds. Only other thing of note, long overhead press to Jason.
Oh, yeah. Like, once again, these are the Vader matches. I liked when you got enhancement matches with Vader, you're not getting the 5 minute where, the guy gets a couple moves in.
Mm-hmm.
Vader could have won with the Vader bomb, but he even brought him up to break the count. So I'm just like, oh, once again, it's Vader. I have no problems with Vader on my television. I never will.
Agreed.
So, by the way, remember months and months ago we talked about the amateur challenge?
Yeah.
We got 3 of them this week. They were just promo videos.
God bless them, they tried.
I actually put bless them for trying in my notes. But here's the thing. As someone who trained in wrestling, once again, I would never say that I'm a wrestler. I always say I trained in wrestling. I was never considered a wrestler.
Right.
Few matches, but I would never, ever call myself a wrestler at any point, ever.
Mm-hmm.
Promos are not, promos don't come easy for people. Like me, I can usually come up with one off the top of my head pretty quick.
Right.
Like, I give them credit for having the balls to put their shit out there on national television.
Yeah, for sure.
They weren't good. Like, I don't know how many takes this took for them to get the promo that they're like, this is the one.
Yeah, you said you can do it on the fly. I could probably do it with a script.
Yeah, but it's just, it's all in the delivery too. Like,
yeah.
If I'd be like, okay, because what I did a couple of them.
Mm-hmm.
When I was training, and used to have a private page on Facebook for this. It was for our in-school matches we were doing.
Right.
Cut a promo. Awesome. I did one where I stood outside the school, and the guy I was going to wrestle at the time, which the match never happened, but I was going to wrestle this guy, and his partner at the time, and he was a dude, by the way, shout out to my boy Nicky Heat, because this guy only had use of one arm, and he really couldn't talk.
Mm-hmm.
But he was in there wrestling with us. Fucking love that guy.
Good deal.
Yeah. So he was basically the buddy of the guy I was wrestling.
Right.
So I did the promo where it's like, I'm going to go up, say my words, go into the school, and then I beat the shit out of him.
Gotcha.
Because I'm going to beat up your buddy to get to you, type thing.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
Yeah. And I was just like, okay, how am I going to say it? And I actually had the old, what do they call those cameras? The ones that had the USB, it was the camera that had the USB stick in the camera where you could just straight up upload your stuff to YouTube from your camera.
Don't know what that would have been called.
But it was basically, it was like a handheld, like a video camera, about the size of a phone, but it had a USB stick built into it. Like, they were popular for a little bit. I had one.
Mm-hmm.
I got one, second market.
Right.
We'll put it that way. Where it had you could press a button, a USB stick would fall out, and you could upload it straight into your thing, up on the YouTube and stuff.
Gotcha.
I cut the promo. One take.
Good deal.
It's just something, once again, you know me, I'm very good at improvising things.
Yeah, you are.
I can cut a promo. And I did. I came in there, beat the dude's ass. Basically, this is where I'm, what are you going to do now? The match never ended up happening, because we were planning the match too, it just never happened, but...
Right.
So I'll give these guys credit for actually putting the stuff out there to possibly be put up on national TV.
Agreed.
Now, this is what I'm interested in. I want to see the ones that didn't make it.
Ooh, yeah.
Like, we'll never see them.
Right, yeah, lost to time.
I do want to see what the ones that they didn't pick looked like.
Right.
And I forget when they do, there's going to be one, and I think it's the one next week, because I don't think this was very long. You're going to see somebody that is I think it's the next week, very well-known wrestler. Like, extremely, like, you know who it is.
Okay.
Because looking at my results here, I think they only do it for 2 weeks. Because I'm just double checking. Yeah, that's what it looks like, 2 weeks. So we're going to get somebody, and trust me, you'll know who it is when you see them.
Okay.
Just, this is them in 93 as opposed to, 31 years later, basically.
Gotcha.
And if you don't, you're going to be like, oh, shit, So, anyways, so we go back, our regular scheduled wrestling. And this is actually kind of a short episode, folks, because we're already on our last match. We get Harlem Heat versus Sting and Dustin Rhodes. I'm excited for this.
Yeah, this will be good.
Very hot start to the match. And I do want to send my condolences to Tony because he has to do another Shockmaster interview next week.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Oh, man. But yeah, already, this was better than the Sting. Was it Sting and Cole last week?
Yeah.
This is already better than that. So this is what I'm saying. It's like sometimes, like you get, like we know, Harlem Heat ends up being one of the greatest tag teams of all time, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
At least top 10. Booker T ends up having a 2-time Hall of Fame career because he's in the Hall of Fame as a singles wrestler and as Harlem Heat.
Right.
We know what Sting can do.
Yes, we do.
We know what Dustin Rhodes can do.
Yes, we do.
So, sometimes you have, like I told you before, sometimes you have guys that wrestle, it just doesn't click for some reason.
Yeah.
This clicked. This was a good match.
Absolutely. This was great.
Yeah, and then I did notice that according to commentary, because when they had the War Games match for Fall Brawl,
mm-hmm.
According to commentary, Dustin was supposed to be the last one in the ring. Because I could see why. He was injured. They wanted to save everything up.
Right.
Less time in the ring, less injury. And he went in there. He just rushed in there. So we don't know where the Shockmaster was supposed to be at.
Mm-hmm.
Other than falling on his ass. And I like how, the Harlem Heat, they're from Harlem, but they're really from Houston.
Did not know that.
Booker T and Stevie Ray are from Houston.
Okay.
But I put Streets of Harlem via Houston.
I like that.
But, and I'm like, I get it, you can be billed if you're a wrestler or not, you can be billed from wherever.
Yeah.
For fuck's sake, Parts Unknown, Dudleyville,
Is Truth or Consequences a real place?
Actually, it is.
It is. Cool.
Because that's how I realized it, and I remember specifically, now that this triggered a memory in my head,
mm-hmm.
that I was like, oh, Truth or Consequences. I remember watching something on TV, it was probably the news or something when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
I was watching wrestling, and I knew who Cactus Jack was. They showed on the news that there was a story from Truth or Consequences, New Mexico. I'm like, oh, that's where Cactus Jack's from.
Gotcha. That's cool.
Mick Foley's from Long Island.
Oh, really? Didn't know that either.
Yeah, and another fun fact, he was on the wrestling team in high school
mm-hmm.
with Kevin James, the guy from King of Queens.
Really?
They were teammates on the wrestling team in high school.
Oh, wow.
But I like that, right? You can be from I could be from freaking, if I wanted to, I could always say, oh, hi, I'm such and such. And knowing me, melanin, deficiency, as I am, I could, if I wanted to, I could say if I'm from Nigeria. You don't know.
Right.
But yeah, so, anyways, this is how we talk about sometimes when you get too formulaic and it doesn't work.
Right.
This is when you get formulaic and it works.
Yeah, this was honestly mostly a no-notes for me, just solid wrestling.
Yeah, this is a no-note. This is a good no-notes. But like, how we talked about the whole Rock and Roll Express theory about tag matches?
Right.
Dustin Rhodes is going to be the Ricky Morton.
Right.
Because he can pull that sympathy. He's going to get his ass beat. He's very good at selling.
The face in peril.
Yeah, he's very good at selling an ass whooping. We've seen this since the start of the podcast.
Right.
Dustin Rhodes can sell an ass whooping.
Oh, yeah, he can. He's damn good at it.
So, once again, you got right there's your Ricky Morton. Sting's going to come in and do the Robert Gibson clean house. This is a very Rock and Roll Express formula for tag wrestling.
Right.
And it worked. Once again, Harlem Heat, they're going to, once they isolate Dustin, they're going to beat on him for a while. Beat on him. I like they didn't, it was nice to actually see a tag match where they didn't do the whole blind tag, but the ref didn't see it, so the good guys got to go back in the corner.
Yeah, that I think that spot is a little overused.
It is, but this is where it got weird. Once again, this is where I think another editing mistake they had.
Mm-hmm.
Because they did do this cool move where it looked like Harlem Heat was going to have the Dustin Rhodes and Sting in opposite corners.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to whip them into each other. Dustin counters it and Sting runs into him and crossbodies one of the guys from Harlem Heat.
Right.
You get the 2 count, but then the screen cuts away from the reaction. You get the 3 count. We don't see the 3 count at all. Tony says it's a 3 count. The good guys do win, so...
9 minutes, 28 seconds.
But Jesse's like, how do we know? What do we see? I didn't see it. Did you see it? Like, we didn't see the actual hand hit the 3rd time. We just 1, 2, cut away, ding, ding, ding.
Yeah.
Don't know what happened. So, which was weird. So we had both shows had a weird editing
Mistake.
Yeah, like they were trying to clean it up somewhere.
Mm-hmm. After the match, Dustin pieces out to grab a chair, comes back in. Abrupt end of show.
Yeah, like it ended very abruptly. Like almost, it's like the whole Ninja Turtles Part 2. Look, it's Raph. Yeah, a little too Raph. Where it's like, yeah, this ended abruptly. A little too abruptly.
Right.
It docked the match a little bit, but it was still a fantastic match.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, that weird ending, it kind of like, I don't...
Yeah, it's strange.
Yeah. Still, match of the show. Match of Saturday night was obviously that. It was a great match. I think I did like it a little bit better than Regal and Steamboat.
Yeah, I think I'm going to say Regal and Steamboat was my match of WCW.
Yeah, because you know me, I like it when a good tag match is done right.
Mm-hmm.
I love a good tag match. However, I will say that is a good question. Do I like the tag match over Scott and Pierre?
Steamboat Regal was my match of the week. So
that's actually a push for me.
Gotcha.
I would say though that's tied for I think it's the first time I've ever had a tie.
Mm-hmm.
So that is a very truncated Dropkicks and Attractions that actually went faster than I thought it would. Once again, we've had short episodes before.
Oh yeah.
I'd rather have one go short than have a 4-hour episode because I think our longest was one of the Star Trek ones that went like 2.5 hours.
Yeah, 2.5 hours talking about the first half of Deep Space Nine Season 1.
I'm glad we don't do 2.5 hour episodes anymore.
I wish we'd gotten back to at least that, because Deep Space Nine was amazing.
Yeah, but this format's better.
I agree.
Anyway, so once again, thank you everybody for listening, watching on Facebook, or not Facebook, YouTube. But you can find us on YouTube, Rumble, whatever podcasting sites haven't self-destructed yet. You can find the podcast also on Twitter at capital D and capital A Podcast 1.
I actually used it earlier today.
Yeah. We say we do. We're going to use it more often. We use it like once or twice a week.
Yeah.
At most. Where can we find you, sir, and what are you doing?
I am at BigBoct, BIGBOCT. I stream on Twitch at 1 p.m. Eastern, Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. Right now, I'm mostly on Stepmania and roguelikes.
Yeah, and I've been in there a couple of times. It's fun to watch. He's very good at explaining stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've always talked to myself to help keep my thoughts organized, and that's been a real boon as I've started streaming more.
What's that?
Like talking to myself to help keep my thoughts organized. It means it helps me explain things when I'm in the process of doing things on stream.
I honestly wish I could do it like you do.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny.
All right, how about you, Xander? Where can we find you?
At home, because I don't like going out.
Neither do I.
But basically, it's going to be Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, then all Xander Invictus. I did put up the Royal Rumble. I did for my Universe mode. There is a payoff with another match. I'm going to try to put that up sometime this week, but not a lot of time this week, work-wise, up until, I think, at least Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
I keep forgetting to do, I might work on it a little bit tomorrow. I keep forgetting to do the GM mode. I kind of want to do that before that dies.
Gotcha.
I do WWE 2K24 Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. We do 2 days of My Faction, 2 days of Universe mode. We finally did hit year 2 of Universe mode.
Cool.
I've had the title off and on for the better part of a year. I did lose it, but I got it back. I've only been pinned one time.
Wow.
I've lost 3 times, been pinned once.
What were the other two? Count out?
No, tag match where the guy I was feuding with got put in a tag match with me, and he didn't tag out, even when I told him to.
Oh.
So I lost without even getting a chance to get in the ring. And then the other one was, well, if you watch the Royal Rumble, you'll understand.
Oh.
But other than that, I'm like 100 and something, 3-1.
Right.
Wednesdays and Sundays when I have time, and if I feel like it, I've been doing a lot of Magic the Gathering Arena Brawl.
I've been thinking about getting back into Arena and actually playing Standard because I used to love the rotating formats.
Yeah, but Brawl is now a permanent format, so...
Oh, it is? I didn't realize that.
It's not ranked or anything, but it's... You have Brawl and you have Standard Brawl, which everybody knows Historic Brawl's better.
Yeah.
So that's what I've been doing. So, once again, follow us there, follow us everywhere. Just don't follow me home because that's weird. So I will see you guys on the next episode.
Take care.